Or, and because I'm going to just put button boxes for the open. Like this is box 485 of 613. Like they're just too. Right now,
And with that, we are live. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're joining us from. Welcome back to the Light 'em Up Lounge. Welcome with another inspiring interview, with another inspiring panel discussion almost. We have two guests joining us live from Boise, Idaho. We'll get to that in a second. I'm joining you from Sofia, Bulgaria, from the most exclusive private member club here in Bulgaria called The Residence. Beautiful location, stunning venue. We hosted a Miracle Cigar Experience here last night, and we're on a little tour in Sofia, but we couldn't miss Light 'em Up. So here we are, live Wednesday as usual. And I'm delighted to welcome all of you joining us here tonight at the lounge via Zoom, and also everybody joining us over on Facebook. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for taking the time. As always, if you have questions, chime in, make yourselves heard. Put your thoughts into the comments underneath the live stream. We're always checking, we're always following, and I'll forward your questions to our special guests, which I'm delighted to introduce to all of you now. Coming live to us from the United States, we have Daniel Rosenthal and Mark Ciccarello. Well, the gentlemen honestly shouldn't need any introduction, but in case you haven't familiarized yourself with Cigar, which we'll be talking about tonight extensively. And if you don't know Daniel and Mark, Daniel is a world-class photographer. He's in charge of the marketing and communication side for Cicar. And the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mark Ciccarello, well-accomplished entrepreneur, cigar retailer, cigar collector, and the inventor of this little piece that does great magic. And we'll talk about all that. So without further ado, Daniel, Mark, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for taking the time and sharing your story, your background, and all your inspiration with us here at the Light 'em Up Lounge. Welcome, folks.
Thanks, Reinhard. Appreciate it.
many thanks for having us. I'm going to start speaking like the Europeans. Many thanks. We don't say that in America necessarily, but it's starting to wear off on us. We love to get this hospitality. But yeah, it's pretty awesome. But thanks for having us for real.
Well, the good thing is we have a truly global audience. People joining us all the way from Southeast Asia, the Middle East, Africa, Europe. A lot of folks tuning in from the United States. I also would love to introduce my co-host for tonight, dear friend and fellow Adrian.
Hi, everyone. My name is Adrian.
Local hero in Bulgaria and Sofia. He is working for our distribution partner and importer for Miracle Cigar here in Bulgaria. Maybe you want to say a few words about Corojo Club and
Sure.
the cigar scene in Bulgaria?
Of course, yeah. Hi, everyone. Such an honor to be here. Corojo Club, we are representing the world's finest cigars. As Reinhard said, we are representing Mirafeo, also Padron, Arturo Fuente, La Galera, Oliva, Plasencia cigars. So our portfolio is with the world's greatest cigars. And yeah, it's such an honor to be here with you tonight. I'm very excited for what's going to happen tonight.
So, Mark, Daniel, over to you. Give us a little bit of the inside baseball and the quick introduction, the short 101 for your personal story with cigars, how you ended up in this magnificent industry that, as we all know and love and appreciate, brings together people from all walks of life and from all ends of the earth. When was the first time that you discovered premium cigars and got involved with this mystical industry?
Well, smoking cigars on and off since playing poker about 23 years ago. I'd say my first experience was longer than that. I'm 45 years old, and it was probably 27 years ago when I smoked my first cigar. I wasn't even sure if I liked it because I can't remember what it was. I remember that's when I had it. I think it was on my 18th birthday or something. So
Swisher Sweets, man, from the gas station.
yeah, it might have been. I can't even remember. But I smoked cigarettes and I chewed tobacco, and I've always had nicotine since I was probably 14 or 15 years old. But actually getting into cigars, probably about 22 years ago, where I started smoking pretty regularly, meaning at least a couple cigars a week. And then probably the last, 8-9 years, probably a couple cigars a day, to where it's now become something that I enjoy doing because primarily I do it socially, right? I rarely smoke cigars unless it's in a social setting. Yes, when I'm at home, if I want a quick one, I'm craving a cigar, I might light up a shorty and, right before bed or whatever. But in general, yeah, I have a shop here in Boise, Idaho. My partner is Ryan Sturman. You know him, Reinhard. He said hi earlier. Dan's my good friend and also business partner and co-owner also of Cicar. And as far as premium cigars, once I started smoking Cubans, my buddy Sean, a lot of people know who this guy is, Sean Miles, in the cigar industry because he's been around so long in the professional sense. Like he had his own shops way back in the day. He meets a lot of people. He knows like everybody at Smoke Inn and in Florida. And anyway, he's very well known in the cigar industry. And he kind of gave me this rundown of Cubans, and I kind of started liking Cubans, and Monte Cristos was my first one I really smoked where I fell in love with cigars. It was a Monte Cristo 2. And then I started smoking some New World stuff and started liking that, and I've pretty much been smoking ever since. Then we go over to Germany in Dortmund, and we're right next to Merrifield, where we're literally homies. We're partners, man. We're right next to each other, booth to booth. And met you guys there. And of course, I thought it was really funny because you guys like presented it, in this like very prestigious way. And I was like, what is this company? This guy Reinhard dressing like a pimp, I was like, this guy's fucking fly as hell.
Always, every day.
Always just like
so many outfits. I love it.
And so I was like, all right, let me see this. And I remember at first you're like, sorry, I can't give you a cigar. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You're at a cigar event. What do you mean you can't give me a cigar? And you're like, well, I mean, we're not supposed to. And then, of course, I got cigars and I smoked them. And I was like, yeah, that's fucking good. And then you bless us with an amazing opportunity by at the end of the show, basically saying, hey, we don't really have room, but I'm going to make room because we like you guys. And it's been great this last 3 days being with you. And you allowed us to become an authorized retailer of Merrifield, which we pretty much sell the crap out of. And I don't think you could give us enough of them. Even though the retail is high on it, I don't think it's that important for the ones that understand it, right? So the ones that understand, it's like Cicar in a sense. Like people are like, oh, that's expensive. It's like, well, can you find something better that's going to actually get the job done that has functionality like this does, right? And I do small batch runs. It's not like I can do 100,000 pieces. I do 5,000 pieces at a time. And I just can't get my volume down or my price down by volume. So they cost me more money too, but they're also super nice. I can't hear. Is he muted?
Are you muted, Reinhard?
I just muted myself, because of
Okay, I was just making sure it was.
noise, but
We hadn't been talking.
no worries. I'm not letting you alone. I'm not starting the show, kicking off everything, and then I'll let you ramble on for an hour here. So
yeah, but that's the skinny of it. We smoke cigars. We have a lounge here. I partnered up with Ryan a few years back. Opened up this lounge. Dan will literally tell you I've ruined his life with cigars because he used to smoke shit and now he smokes nothing but fucking good stuff.
I'm not gonna say it that way. I'm gonna say I smoked things that I could afford. And I smoked the best of what I could afford. But
I'm not as politically correct. Obviously, as you know, I have zero filter, so you guys will have to pardon me. This is just how I am. It's not that I'm trying to be a certain way. It's
like,
how I am.
I could get the Master Blend 3s for like $5 a stick, and they're a good cigar. So
I think it's a crappy cigar. But that's
to
just
go
opinion, right? It's all subjective. But tell me I didn't ruin you, because now you're like, crap.
It's problematic because I've been smoking stuff like this every day now. So I think it would take me some time to get back into enjoying some of the other more affordable stuff.
But more to the point, the people that understand a high quality tobacco and experience aren't going to care as much, at least, about the price. They're going to look at it, smoke it, and say, that was an experience I can't get anywhere else from any other cigar. So I don't think that price point is going to hurt for the people that understand the cigar. Now, as far as volume is concerned, yes, obviously the volume will be less, but it doesn't matter. You don't have the supply to get the volume up anyway to where we want them to last months, right? Because we can't get more. We can't get an unlimited order. So when we get 6 boxes or 10 boxes or whatever, we want that to last 3, 4, 5 months till we can get another order. So I prefer not to have them at a lower price point because I don't want to sell out. I want to always have them being represented, you know. But our guys buy boxes at a time and then I don't even have any. I'm like, well, that's sold out. So now it's like crap.
I mean, what's interesting is to hear your perspective as a retailer, obviously, because you look at the industry from various different angles. Mark, you have the experience as a cigar enthusiast, as a collector, a retailer, now a manufacturer of unique cigar accessories. Daniel, you have different lenses on, again, with the marketing and communication side and looking at it as a photographer primarily, but as an avid cigar communicator. And so I think that's so valuable when you can take all these different angles and perspectives into consideration and look at the industry more holistically. Now, I would love to give everybody a proper introduction to Cicar. First of all, maybe you can explain to us how the idea came about and then how you turned it into reality and brought this little magical tool to life. And then walk us through some of the intricacies, what it actually does to the cigar experience and how it changes your perception of premium cigars. So I look forward to kind of a short introduction from you guys to Cicar, how it came to life and what it does to the cigar experience.
Sure. So I'll try to make it as quick as possible. Basically, I'm sitting at the bar, my cigar is really low, and I smoke good cigars. And as most people would agree that if you're smoking a good cigar, near the end, it gets better because the oils, resins, tannins, lipids, whatever you want to call it, they all pull down and they get stronger and more body, more profile. And usually that's for me, that's where I like it. That's my sweet spot. Like right here, fine. But right here, that's money, right? So when it gets low, sometimes you'll start burning your fingers. It drops in the ashtray, especially in a social setting, you're sharing an ashtray. There's lots of pitfalls to when the cigar gets low, gets hot if you don't smoke it right. And I don't really like the poker because I think that the poker is very not sophisticated. I think it's kind of a ghetto type of thing. I think it takes away from, you know, the sophistication of cigars and, you know, all the stuff that went into cigars. I feel like it diminishes the cigar experience and it just looks weird. So a guy says to me, well, if you don't like it, make something better. And I was like, yeah, that sounds about right. And so I did. Now, my history is making products, marketing, packaging. I've had other companies. And so I was like, well, I'm already in this field, so I can probably get that done. I talked to some design team people. We first set on stone, which is this one, which is made out of tiger's eye.
I think that's what he has. You have the tiger's eye, right?
Yeah, you have a very similar one to mine.
Oh, that's a pretty one. Yeah.
So
Mine is a
like
bit
that stone.
darker on some of the edges, but
Yeah.
it's in piece.
And they'll have like 4 or 5 different shades. Some of them will kind of be a bluish greenish. Some will be like black. Some will be like really brown, light brown, cowhide brown. I mean, it's stone, so it's going to vary as the slab gets picked. But this is tiger's eye. So I wanted something that had a nice feel that wasn't big. I didn't want it to be like intrusive, right? I didn't want it to be gaudy. And when people are like, what the hell is that? I wanted people to be like, is that the cigar? It's like, no, this is not the cigar, because as you can see, and you hold it in your fingers, it's only about 1.25 inches tall, but it's tapered on the inside. And that tapering allows multiple size ring gauges to fit into it to make a seal. And I'll show you how it's done. So I don't normally smoke my cigar in the Cicar until it's about 2 inches left, because it's really for smoking the end of it. But as I've noticed with a lot of people, including Dan and a lot of people at the shop, they'll smoke the whole damn cigar in the Cicar.
Start with it in there.
But that's not for me. Okay. I didn't make it for that reason. It doesn't matter if you do that. It's just for me, I just do the last 2 inches when it starts getting unmanageable, especially if you're in conversation. So this is a podcast. Imagine I had 1 inch left. I put it down, it goes into my ashes, I drop it. I'm like, oh shit. This will kind of solve that issue, right? Because I have a stand for it as well that this goes into. right? And the cigar can just go, now I can just
They
let
can't
it.
see that.
So now I can just let it
Let's
sit.
hold up. There we are.
Sorry. So now I can just kind of let it sit. But so the idea was make something that's functional, right? That had good utility. And I made them out of wood as well. Like Dan's is made out of a maple burl nut wood. And this will also have shade variation, color variation as well. And also start patinaing as you get more used to it and kind of season the wood like a pipe does, like a tobacco pipe. So the idea was, how do I have multiple ring gauges fit in it? So about a 56 down to like a 38. This is pretty much about 93% of almost every cigar made. Certain box presses will work no problem if you just get it a little bit more malleable when it warms up, and you can make it seal no problem. And I just like, again, I wanted to kind of have the hard part of smoking, the best part of what I consider the cigar. I wanted to not have that be a hassle any longer. And then Dan can tell you, because he uses it literally every cigar, where I don't necessarily, because I don't think for me it works for every cigar. But for Dan, he does like to smoke almost every cigar out of it, which is fine. But Dan can tell you all the utility uses that he likes of it that I haven't even thought of, that he brought to light. And I'm like, really good point.
Well, something that a lot of feedback that we've gotten is people saying that it actually opens up the flavor and improves the draw. Obviously, that's really subjective, so we're not necessarily claiming that, but I find that to be the case. We lost you, Reinhard.
He doesn't like us anymore, bro.
He's out.
He was like, these guys talk way too much.
But we're still here, so you can go on.
Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah.
You always keep going, my friend.
There you are. What's up, baby?
Hey.
So, where was I? Oh, opens up the flavor, improves the draw. The other thing is that occasionally when you cut a cigar, it splits the cap. And then the whole time you're smoking it, you're dealing with that unraveling. It'll get moist, it'll expand. So that's a time when I put it directly in the Cicar and I don't have to deal with it at all. So just that it helping with that construction issue has saved me tons of money, or just the hassle of attempting to smoke a cigar that's coming apart.
Plus, you have a magnetic ring that we made that slips on it. So now you can put it on your motorcycle tank when you're riding. So now you can smoke while riding a motorcycle.
This is the only thing I have metallic, but it'll stick to anything.
And it's a pretty hard magnet. So also you're in the jacuzzi, let's say you want to smoke. This will make it to where your cigar doesn't get all wet. And you can also put it down in the holder in the side of the jacuzzi and put your hands back in and enjoy without having to hold up your hand the whole entire time. If you're in that, if you're on a pool and you want to set it on the side, you're in your backyard, you're sitting down in your table and you want to, again, be hands free. Plus, if it's windy outside, I promise you, when this is in the holder, this won't go anywhere. Even like if it's 30 or 40 mile an hour wind, it won't budge. So there's all sorts of weird utilities that people come up with. One guy took a picture of in the bathroom at PCA
Golf
last
cart,
year.
yes.
No, the bathroom.
No, somebody just wrote golf cart.
Oh, yeah.
That's why it was designed.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was made for the golf cart.
Yeah.
But he used it and put it on the urinal metal piece when he was peeing, so it could be both hands free, and sent it to us. Been like, hey, I found another use. So I thought that was kind of funny. So practical application is there. It functions extremely well. Reinhard, you have it. You've used it. You do use it. It does function. It does seal the cigar. It does prove that it's viable. So I got a question for you. What do you think of Cicar, and what do you think of the draw and enhancing flavor profiles and bringing out stuff?
Well, to be honest, I was a bit skeptical when we met at Into the Back last year, and I didn't really know what to make of it. And then I started using it more frequently, as you said in the beginning, only when I got towards the very end of the cigar. But I also tried it during the cigar now, so I'm just on cruising speed here with this one. And once I put it in the Cicar, indeed, it opens up the draw ever so slightly. So this cigar has just a draw that is a touch on the tighter side, and the Cigar opens it up a little bit. I have to confess, it takes a bit of time until you get used to the mouthfeel, because it's different having this little mouthpiece here compared to just taking the cigar as it is. But
Yeah.
I found it very interesting. The changes on the aromatic profile and the delivery on the taste buds to me is quite subtle. So it doesn't do an awful lot in terms of the taste perception to me, but ever so slightly and in an elegant way. So I enjoy that a lot, and most certainly all the practical implications and the use cases that you mentioned. I think that's a real game changer, and it provides people with an opportunity to just play around with it, try it in different scenarios and in different social environments and surroundings, and have fun with it. And that's what I like about it.
Okay, cool. And just to kind of wrap up like function and utility, this piece that he's talking about, the mouthpiece, this is a silicone tip that comes with the kit. That's not nice on your teeth to have stone or wood and you're biting down on your cigar when it's in your mouth smoking. So we made it for two purposes. First, it will soften the feel in the mouth, and you can bite down with your teeth and you're biting into silicone, so it's totally soft. The second one is you can smoke the cigar all the way into the tube. Not to where it just hits the rim. It'll smoke all the way down to ash sometimes. So sometimes the tube can get warmed up. Well, that will help dissipate certain heat. So it's kind of dual functionality. But that's the reason for the tip, is to make it primarily a better mouthfeel. You're muted again, Reinhard.
Yeah.
Okay, that was on purpose. Okay, got it.
I was just chatting with Adrian, and I told him that he shall just chime in and share some of his questions as well.
Yes,
I wanted to add though, regarding the aromatic profile and the taste perception, indeed, I just put it on again, and the cigar that I'm enjoying has an earthy, semi-sweet profile with quite a bit of grit and a touch of pepper. Once I apply the Cicar to it, I have to admit it opens up a little bit, and it gives me a more ethereal quality to it. It has a touch of an added freshness and almost like a more lively profile in general. So that was kind of an interesting revelation right now.
So let me give you a quick comment on why I think that is, because me and Dan noticed right away when we first started building this thing and trying to come up with a design that worked the best, at least, that had the most functionality with the simplest design, right? We did notice that there was this like weird flavor profiling where, I mean, enhanced, people don't like to say the word enhanced, but it kind of adds to however you want to take that, right? And even Nelson, right, from Atabay Cigars, he was at PCA. He loves his little Lanceros. He comes over to our booth because he was next to us at PCA. And he was very cordial, great guy. Puts his cigar in Cicar. Dan was there to testify this is not just bullshit, right? He smokes on it for 3 or 4 puffs, looks at us and says, more flavor.
Yeah.
That's how he talks. And he's like, wow, this literally has more flavor. So here's my theory. You know how certain wine glasses are different shapes and they can hit the top of the tongue, the back of the tongue, and it's supposed to open up certain different things. Same with like whiskeys, certain decanters or whatever. I think that Cicar, because it has a short throw between when it seals and the gap in between, which is only about a half an inch, and then how it rolls back to the tongue is different than just the cigar on the mouth. Plus, you're getting a complete seal. So the smoke's coming in at a complete seal, pulling straight back. So now
it's
you're
a bit like smoking a torpedo, where you have a more concentrated delivery
Yes.
of the aromas and the taste sensations that hit your palate and your taste buds right there.
Yeah, I think it like almost like kind of compounds that to where it hits where you're like, okay, that flavor was there before, but it's more enhanced now. I feel like I can pick it out better. It's almost like you could describe profiles better because it's more enhanced. So now you can be like, okay, peppery, nutty, leathery, whatever, right? And you can pick it up just a little bit better. So that's what I mean by enhance or bring out. Like I said, a lot of people try to get away from certain terms, but this is the truth of the matter.
That's why I say opens up. It's hard to describe it like you were trying to do, which you did very well, but it just it opens it up a little bit, separates the flavors maybe. I don't know.
By the way, you guys ever smoked this, Richard? This thing is fucking fantastic.
Shameless plug. Very
No,
glad that you're enjoying one of those masterpieces.
Look, I have several boxes personally left. I'm gonna wait a few years before I open them. Just to let them sit there as a cigar, not just tobacco, but as a cigar. I have a feeling these things are gonna be fucking ridiculous, bro.
I'm glad you enjoy them.
So one thing I've been thinking about as I've been using the Cicar over the last year is how every single time I'm done with a cigar, I get a paper towel and I clean it out, right? The amount of tar on that paper towel is all that tar that didn't go in my mouth. And I think maybe that affects the flavor a little bit. So you're not actually getting that tar in the mouth. And plus long term, 40 years of getting that tar in your mouth obviously increases your possibility of cancer and things like that. So I don't know, we don't have any studies obviously, but like not having that tar in the mouth is really nice.
Mike had his hand up here with us at the lounge, so I was curious to hear your thoughts, Mike. Please chime in.
Yeah, absolutely. I was fortunate to meet Mark and Danny at TPE this last year and was able to get a Cigar, and I've been using it pretty steadily for the last couple of months. And one thing I've noticed is over the years, I've never been able to truly use or appreciate a V-cut or a punch on a cigar, just because the way I smoke it, it would always close up. And now with the Cigar, I've actually been able to really, for the first time in smoking cigars for almost 20 years, be able to really enjoy a V-cut or a punch cigar. So thank you guys for that, because there is some subtle differences when you do punch a cigar differently or cut a cigar differently. So that brought that to the table for me, which I wasn't able to enjoy beforehand. In addition to all the functionality as well.
So, Mark, can you elaborate a little bit on, have you experimented with using the Cigar on different cuts, whether you do a straight cut, a punch, a V cut?
Dan would be the guy to answer that better than me, because he literally, because he's marketing, right? So he literally just tests the living shit out of this.
Yeah, I try everything.
And he puts it under every condition, so he can actually be on.
I leave it in the rain sometimes. I've left it on my truck down the freeway. It sticks to the side.
We were doing a side by side, Dan and I, out in the middle of the boonies. I bought a Max D, some crazy.
Do you know what a side by side is?
Like
a big ATV,
crazy ATVs. Well, we stuck the magnet to the outside of it and forgot it, and we went on a motherfucking ride,
just like jumping things, 70 miles an hour,
going through bumps. I mean, hardcore, 40, 50, 60 miles an hour. We got done, and he's like, "Shit, I lost the Cigar." And we looked on the outside; it was still stuck there, did not come off. Real talk. It was crazy. But as far as cuts are concerned, Dan, kind of go through the cuts. And
I'll be honest, I haven't noticed any difference no matter how I cut it.
Because it seals, right?
Yeah, because it seals. Now I have found, I've had some people trying the Cicar for the first time that have been like, it's all I'm getting is air. So if somebody tries it but doesn't get a good seal on it, it's going to be a terrible experience. You just got to get a good seal, as I'm sure you found.
Very true. Now, Mike, just to bring you in one more time, have you experienced what Mark and Dan were describing earlier in regards to the perceptual change, what happens with the aromatic and taste delivery?
Yeah, absolutely. I wasn't going to necessarily, felt like you guys kind of hammered that one home, but yeah, this is consistent with what you guys are saying. It definitely allows you to enjoy the cigar a lot more. And Danny, I think to your point, I think you're spot on with it being a lack of tar. It definitely has to have something to do with the flavor and the taste that you're getting in your mouth, because you don't get nearly the bitterness towards the end of the cigar as well, especially in that sweet spot that Mark's talking about. But yeah, I'm one of those guys, and you guys all know I spent almost 10 years working at Ciccar. So for me to pick up another cigar accessory and the multitudes of cigar accessories I have, it takes something special for me to work that into my rotation. You guys definitely are in that spot. So yeah, thank you again. And to those that haven't had a chance to enjoy it yet, I strongly encourage it.
Hey,
Appreciate it, man. Yeah.
By the way, they know we love Bovita.
There we go. Hey, I wasn't going to go there, but yeah, there we go.
Just for everybody watching, this by no means is an advertised show, so any mentions of Bovita, Cicar, Marabful Cigar, or any other brand are purely based on personal preference and opinion, and nothing to do with sponsored content here.
This is just,
we try to keep it informal and informative, and we just love great cigars, great accessories, and
we really like, though, Reinhard, we really like good people. That's what it's about. It's about
That's
good
exactly it. Yeah, that's exactly it. And
cigars and accessories. That's cool, but really, it's about like I like Mike, right? I like Rob, right? I like you, Reinhard, right? I like the relationship aspect of cigars. I love the fact that we're smoking cigars. We met this way, and now look at us. We're talking on podcasts and sharing a story. Like this is why cigar smoking is fucking amazing. Because
Thank you so much for sharing that and bringing it up, because I couldn't agree more. And as all of you know, I mean, we've been doing this for 3.5 years now. Over 3 million views on Light 'em Up throughout the whole lifespan here. And from day one, still today, and hopefully we'll be doing this in 10, 20 years from now. It's always been about that. It's about the people, it's about the community and the family of people who enjoy the finer things in life, great cigars, and the community and camaraderie that come with it. So thank you for saying that. And yeah, I couldn't agree more. And also Adrian here is a perfect example. You know, we also met into Tobacco in Dortmund. Adrian was there with the whole team from Corojo Club. And here we are a couple months later. Friendships are built by this humble piece of dried and fermented tobacco rolled into a mystical piece of magic that will bring utter joy and pleasure to the people who can appreciate it. And so I'm just very grateful for that. And I hope that every single week and throughout the week for everybody, Light 'em Up is a true testament to that as well.
Well stated. Adrian, did you have any questions for us? Is that what Reinhard was saying?
No, like I was listening very carefully and I understand everything that I needed to understand about it. It's really an amazing thing that you can add to your cigar.
And we'll
Very
do
good job.
we'll do a great little tasting together here whilst we progress with the show, and afterwards with different cigars and trying and testing the Cicar. But Mike provided us with a great segue to a question that I had, and that is regarding one. I wanted to talk about the business aspect, and Mark, you're a true born and bred entrepreneur. So you've started multiple businesses, and you've had your fair share of experience in the entrepreneurial world. And we all know it's one thing to come up with a great idea, but it's a totally different ball game to turn it into reality. You know, manufacture a dummy or a test version of it, let alone going into full production and making it a sustainable business. So how was that experience for you, and the development from a prototype after you had the initial idea all the way to where you are now, sharing Cicar with the world and with cigar enthusiasts from the US over to Europe and hopefully throughout the entire world?
Yeah. So you're basically asking like, how was the process, right, from start to finish?
Absolutely.
So, like you said, I have done other businesses. So I've had maybe 5 or 6 other businesses that I've had previous that are no longer, that have either sold or whatever has happened. And then I have a couple current, right? I have an olive oil business. I have Cicar. I have the shop here. So I have several different businesses that I run. I'm involved in a solar company, but that's another story. But as far as manufacturing, so I've been using different manufacturers from Taiwan, China, America, Mexico, Malaysia, Philippines, literally for the last 14 years. So my network of people was already established. So it wasn't like I was starting from scratch, like, oh my God, how do I make this happen? It was pretty much like, I just need the design and I can get it produced. So marketing, packaging, my other company was called Hush Kratom. That's the one that pretty much I made my bread and butter off of. And I learned a lot over the last, 6 or 7 years, even just with marketing, distribution, relationships, how the flow of America works with mainstream between cash and carries, direct to store distros, direct to stores, what make people tick. And so I knew that if I had functionality, that I could make it relatively quick, get the design right, make it to where it looks good. And the proper discerning cigar smoker that could understand what it can do. Because let's say you're smoking a $80 Marifil, and then you smoke a $100 Cuban or $200 Cuban. Well, guess what? If you throw the damn cigar away with 20% left, That's throwing away $15, $20 every single time. Well, if you do that every day, you're throwing away in a month, literally $500-600 worth of smoking experience. So Cicar can make it and save 95% of that loss. So now Cicar technically pays for itself by just using it, because you can get an extra 15 to 30 minutes more smoking experience. So technically it will pay for itself, within a month to 4 months, depending on how often that you smoke and what type of cigars you smoke and the price point. But like I said, Dan knows I smoke a lot of expensive cigars. Well, I don't want to waste them, right? Because they're really freaking good. But sometimes, people that I've talked to and people that I know that smoke, a lot of times they get to the band, they kind of just toss. And if you ask them why, and they'll say, well, it's done. It's like, well, it's not done. To them, done means it's getting too close to my fingers. It's getting too hot. They don't want to sit there and manage the cigar. If they talk too long, like I do a lot, it'll go out, and then it's really hard to relight. So they don't want to burn their nose or lips or fingers or get their beard on fire. I mean, Dan, you see him like this, but
Did I have the beard in Germany? Big beard?
No, you didn't. I think you were already onto the mustache. So
yeah,
But
a year ago, the guy had a beard that was the size of King Kong.
And this saved my mustache. You know what I mean?
Like he had to move his beard to eat and drink, and it was really big. And so when his cigars went out, he would just go, shit, I can't really relight it because I will catch my face on fire. So with this, it actually adds, an extra 1.5 inches at an angle, and you can actually relight stuff, torch into it, relight it that way if it goes out. So there's some redeeming qualities there as well. But the manufacturing process was that simple. Design.
How many iterations do you think we went through before we landed on this?
We probably had nine different prototypes, and probably 4 of them I thought were pretty cool. The main reason, and I think Dan was an influence on this, that we went with this one because of how it tapered for the mouthfeel. So you're still feeling like your mouth is around a 50 ring gauge or a 48 ring gauge when you're here. So it's a nice, comfortable mouthfeel. We didn't want it to be super big and straight throughout the whole thing and just taper on the inside. We wanted to make sure that we could have functionality with a rubber stopper or a silicone stopper also, so that way you can bite on it and not be biting on the stone or wood.
The other thing to speak to that point, we have a Cicar coming out that'll fit up to a 70 ring gauge, which I don't know anybody that smokes that big, but I know a lot of people do.
Technically I made it to where it does a 74 because I didn't want a 70, because certain, as you know, ring gauges, you'll see a 52 and a 52, and you're like, that's not a 52, that's a 54, or that's a 50. Like if you smoke 48 to 56, if you smoke that ring gauge all the time, you don't need somebody to tell you what ring gauge it is. You know what ring gauge it is, right? Because you've held cigars so often that you know what a 52 feels like. Well, sometimes they're not quite always the same. Maybe it's a 51, maybe it's a 53. So even though there is some room for manipulating the cigar into the piece, we wanted to make it to where it's really more like a 74 down to 50.
Yeah. So what I like about that, though, is you can be smoking, if you wanted, a 65 ring gauge cigar, but still the part that your mouth is on is this big. So you don't have to have your mouth around a cigar this big, which is really nice.
And what Mike also was hinting towards is, God knows there's plenty of accessories out there, and to really stand out from the crowd and provide something that has meaning and relevance is tough, right? And so, Mark, you mentioned the business side of things and your experience in the entrepreneurial world, and you also said that Nelson Alfonso was quite fond of applying Cicar to his cigars and what it provided him with.
He came to our booth 7 times in 2 days.
Well, and also
him and his team, they just kept bringing people over. They're like, you guys got to look at this. They absolutely fell in love with it.
But initially showed up, as everyone does, with skepticism.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about after somebody tries it, feels it, and experiences it, then that light goes off. You know what I mean?
Go to our page, guys, and look at all of our testimonial videos. And we only took the negative videos because the people that were negative at first, like naysayers, were basically like, nah, we don't put a corn cob in our mouth. That takes away from, I don't need it. I want the mouthfeel, blah, 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 right? And then they took it and we convinced them, just fucking try it and shut the fuck up, right? Just try the goddamn thing and tell me if it's fucking gonna work. And then they're like, fine. Because literally I'd have to say that, like, you don't might have a potty mouth, but I'm just like, bro, just fucking try it. So then they would try it and we videotaped them. And 100% of all people that said the negative turned their story around and said, I was wrong. This actually is pretty fucking amazing. And that actually feels pretty cool. So at first, people are used to like, okay, fine, for 75% of the cigar, have it in your mouth. For the last 25%, 20%, put it in Cicar, right? That's my answer. But literally, Rocky Patel's people, they were like super reluctant to even entertain anything but traditional smoking. And then we got them to try it. We have it on video. And they literally were like, we were wrong. That's actually really freaking cool. And that brings out a different profile / experience for the cigar. And it's actually pretty cool. So all Rocky's team was all about it, right? And they have the burn stores and stuff. Yeah, that's actually show them right there. So this is the video. I think that's one of the buyers
This
for
is just
Rocky.
him trying it for the first time.
Yeah. And he was literally like, oh shit, I was wrong. Because remember,
Gets that smile.
it took me like 20 minutes to convince some of these people just to try their cigar in the Cicar. But every single person that did reversed their position, said, my bad, you guys are right. That's actually pretty cool. And it does work. And then they all bought.
Oh, I'm going to interject here. We actually have $50 off promo code that we're going to give to everybody. It's Mirafell 50 off. How would you like me to share that?
Well, first of all, you just said it live on the internet, so you know this this online-
Mirafell
doesn't
50
forget
off.
things.
Yeah.
The number is 50.
Yep.
Say that again, please.
$50 off.
So it's Mirafell 50.
Yeah, yeah. So if you go to our website, put it to cart discount code Marifil 50 off, you'll get $50 off the normal price, which is really good. We wanted to split up the audience.
We shared the link over on Facebook. So I'll just put the promo code.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. It's just right there.
Brilliant.
All right.
But anyway, that was the real response. And so sometimes with me, so my I guess personality, as you know, is very strong.
Gregarious.
Okay, whatever. Some people like it, some people don't. I'm not here to please everybody, but I am here to be brutally honest, right? I still respect everybody, but sometimes people just need a little push to get past their mental hump, right? With anything, even Marifil cigars, for example, somebody might come in and say, oh, $75 for that. I'm like, bro, just fucking try the cigar. If you don't like the cigar, I'll give you your $75 back. But if it's everything I just told you it was, I just introduced you to a beautiful experience that you've never got before. And guess what? I've never given somebody back their money. Not ever. They have always been like, dude, great recommendation. Really appreciate that. You know, it might not be my daily cigar because it's expensive, but I can smoke the cigar at least once a month or whatever. And so some of them come in, buy one, and then guess what they do? They take the whole damn box, and then I don't have any more damn Marifils. And that's been my issue. Remember the second run you said, how's it going on the first run of Richards? And I said, what do you mean? I sold out the whole entire thing in 2 days. Like after 2 days, they were gone. I had to go to, what's your other vendor, Cigar King or some guy that sells them in the States in Arizona or something. We literally bought some from him personally so I could have more of them. I'm not even shitting you. Go ask him yourself. I bought boxes from him so I could have some because I ran out.
Mark, there was a quick question from Maddie here in the audience, and she was wondering if Cicar works well with box press.
Yeah. So with a box press, you know how some cigars are just harder than others. So with a box press, I would say most of the time it's going to fit, but it's definitely the kind of thing that you need to smoke down enough to where the end gets real softened up, kind of warmed up, and then it'll fit in there.
Excellent. And a question that I wanted to ask you, because you're alluding on the personal recommendation, and we all know, as with cigars, same for accessories, proof is in the eating of the pudding. But Dan, you in particular, as a marketer and videographer, photographer, you also know the importance of communicating through images, through video, and in particular, social media just changed the whole landscape for like any industry, but also for the premium cigar industry, which is so deeply rooted in tradition, heritage, and doing things the old way. Where do you think that sweet spot lies in regards to how do you communicate online, whether it's written words, audio, podcasts, video, images, but then at the same time, you always have to go that extra step and deliver once people actually try that piece and put it in their mouth for the first time.
Hold on, we have got a couple people asking about that discount code. I'm going to show it one more time. Yeah, there you go. Meripfel 50 off. Yep. So you're asking about how do I communicate what Cicar, the value of Cicar? Is that the question?
Not only that, but also probably a more philosophical and broader context to the question as to where do you think that sweet spot lies for the cigar industry in general? And Mark, I'm curious to hear your thoughts as a retailer on this as well. On the one hand, you have all the tools that social media, Reels, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and what have you provide. But at the same time, we're still in an old-fashioned traditional industry where what matters is the analog experience and people trying the cigar or Cicar for the first time to truly understand what's behind it and do you like it or not.
Well, I will say that the amount of platforms that provide information is a double-edged sword because so many people are everywhere. It's YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. It's so many different platforms that can be, challenging to keep up with. I think, the most effective marketing is what we talked about. It's word of mouth.
People just using it. Don't worry about our testimonials. Just go review Public Magazine, right? The Public Magazine, the 75 and 50 or 75 and 30. They did look at Boboda's review on us. We didn't ask them to do the review, by the way. This is not, hey, will you guys help us? It wasn't like that, right? This was not made for me to be like, oh my God, I'm gonna make a shit ton of money. This was like, you know what? The guy said make something better than a poker, so I did. I make money regardless of this, right? This is not my bread and butter. This is something that was a passion project. If I make no money on this, literally couldn't care less. This doesn't affect my life even 1%. So it was really like, okay, I'm going to make this, I'm going to get it out there, and I want people to love it. And if they don't love it, then I'll just scratch the idea and say, never mind, it didn't work. Well, the response we got was, holy shit, that thing's fucking awesome. So then I was like, cool, so we have something viable. Now it's how do I get it in people's hands? Because like you said, traditionally speaking, philosophically speaking, it's like this. Tobacco is supposed to be enjoyed and in the mouth and get the flavor and blah, 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 right? I agree. I'm not disagreeing. I've been smoking cigars longer than a lot of people have, okay? And not as long as some. But I'm not a rookie. So I get the flavor profile of having the tobacco in your mouth, the feel, the experience. And like I said, for 75, 80% of the cigar, do that. But if you find yourself throwing your cigar away with 20% left and it's a nice cigar and it's an expensive cigar and you want to get your money's worth, throw it in Cicar, start seeing the utility function of it. And then you'll be like, okay, this has more practical application than I gave it credit for, because you'll start realizing what you can use it for that actually is a benefit. Now, as far as advertising, I think that people just do it for us. There's like, hey, this is pretty awesome. Stores pick it up and buying it, understand the concept. In my location, I have regulars that use it on a regular basis, and then people start buying it literally because they see the regulars use it and they're like, I keep seeing you with this thing every single time I come in, use it every time. They talk to them and then they just go buy a piece themselves. We're averaging probably 3 to 4 sales a week right now in Cicar pieces at this one location. But when we first launched it, we did like 70 or 80 pieces in a month. Like they were flying off, and now a lot of our regulars have it. So ones that aren't regulars come in and buy them every now and then is slowed down per location. But I mean, the response is, that's cool. This is a good gift. I can give for Father's Day. I can give for an anniversary, for a bachelor party, groomsmen. We've had literally our buddy George. He has a big business, and he wanted to give it to his business people. So he bought 6 of them to give away as gifts for Christmas, shit like that. So, my brother Casey, he's a doctor in Houston. He bought 7 of them because he wanted to give it to his esteemed colleagues that all smoke cigars, because he's also, my brother's a cigar smoker and whiskey drinker. just like me. And so he's like, "Hey, bro, that's actually a cool invention. I want some of those." And guess what? I didn't give him a discount. I charged him full price. I was like, "Sorry, bud, you got to support your brother. No discounts." And he bought them, and he said they received it really well.
Did that answer your question? I can't tell if we did or not.
Well, it did, but if I may frame it slightly differently one last time, I'm curious about, Mark, your perspective as a retailer and then your perspective as a marketer. How important do you think in today's day and age, social media, communication online, video, audio has truly become for an industry that is so heavily rooted in doing things the old way, face-to-face, people business?
I think
that's easy to answer.
Well, I think initially it's indispensable, but I think as time goes by, it'll become more of a staple or something that you see everywhere. So it'll become less important at that point. But
Let me give you a different view on that answer. Here's a different view for you. You said traditional. Traditional means dingy, dark, smelly, old cigar lounges that people are like, "Ew, cigars, ugh, old men, ugh." This is traditional. Okay. Our lounge, for example, is extremely well lit. It's more of a poppy vibe, has beer and wine, has an outside patio that's 3,000 square feet. And we draw 60% of our clientele at night past 6 p.m. is women. You want to know why? Because they can sit outside, smoke a cigar, have beer and wine because they like to drink their wine, listen to music and food trucks. So we're trying to actually do a different concept with cigars, which is not.
we're trying to bring new people into the fold.
Well, it's the younger version too. You guys want to continue having people smoke cigars? Well, then appeal. Like, yeah, Ryan just said it. Make cigar lounges cool again. How do you do that? Get with the times.
Well, make them inviting too. Make them open. Make them, a place where you really want to spend some time.
And the number one thing is make them well ventilated. Don't have a smoky film at your eye level where you're like, you can't be in there for more than 10 seconds because you literally reek like an ashtray and it bothers you to be in there. So our shop doesn't get smoky because our ventilation is really sick, but we also have the outside, which is 85% of our business. Is everybody goes outside because we have like 100 seats out there. We have a covered patio space. We have literally live music and food trucks, and it's a vibe, right? Well, online is very similar too. Online people today are savvy, they're young, and it's not like it was before. Young people weren't savvy like they are today because there wasn't an internet. There was just mommy and daddy, and the ones that were savvy were mowing lawns, okay, doing window cleaning or whatever. They weren't entrepreneurial like this. Now that they have social media as a platform, now we're reaching the younger generation. So how do we get younger adults, right? How do we get younger adults interested where they might be like, wow, cigar smoking is also good for business. For example, guess where I do a lot of my business? In lounges like this or in Vegas, smoking cigars, or on the golf course, smoking cigars, right? Where you have a couple hours, you can sit down, you're relaxing, enjoying, and a lot of business people smoke cigars. Well, how do you make that not old and dingy and gross anymore? Well, first, have some new lounges that open up with different concepts, right? That are more inviting, especially to women. Now, some people might be like, well, that's sexist. Well, I don't care. I don't know what that means. It's not sexist. It's just a reality. Women want to enjoy time with their men, okay, or girls' night. And if they feel like they're going to go into a man cave, that's not inviting. But if they go into a well-lit, well-ventilated, great atmosphere and ambiance type of setting, they can start getting into cigars more too. They can start being like, wow, this is a much better place than I thought. When they walk in, they're like, this is not what I thought it was going to be like. And this is what we're doing going, just so you know, within 5 to 10 years, we have a national concept that we can either franchise out, license out, or just continue building ourselves, to where we want to bring this type of concept that's more inviting specifically to women. Because guess what? Guys are always doing what? They're going to always come to a place and they're going to smoke their cigars. Fact. But guess what? Not the women. So how do you get the women to be like, yeah, I'll go with you because that place is cool, well lit, well ventilated, fun, music. Like, you have to bring a little something different. You can't just be like, I'm going to open up a 25-seat cigar lounge and a TV on the wall, and it's just going to be a bunch of grumpy old fucking men. That concept is dead. If you guys don't believe me, you don't have a cigar lounge.
And going back to kind of the original point of how do you communicate and how do you bring people to enjoy this incredible world and this leisure and pleasure? I think the answer is always all of it, right? And so social media and modern means and ways of communication have opened new pathways and have given us more tools to bring, as you said, new people into the whole ecosystem. And then it links back to the traditional old-fashioned ways, which I mean positively, where it's still all about human interaction. It's about people sitting down with each other, having a real, meaningful, analog conversation and experience. And that's what I always found so charming about the cigar, is that it still provides you with an experience in today's day and age that is true and real and analog. And that to me is the ultimate luxury, that in our fast-paced world, you can sit down next to a friend and you can have a cigar together. You talk about things and you experience. And so it's kind of both worlds coming together. And ultimately, the cigar will always stay true to what it is, and that is a unifying tool of bringing people around the same table.
I agree. I like that a lot. That is one of the first things that got me into seriously smoking cigars.
He has a tattoo of the Tempest Alec Bradley on his leg.
Yeah, it's the Alec Bradley Tempest. Because that was my first like the light went off, and I was like, this is absolutely incredible. But what first drew me to it was that I would either smoke a cigar and read a book, or I would smoke a cigar and talk to good friends. And it was this opportunity to just sit and be for 2 hours. And I think like you're saying, like our world is so fast paced that it's really important to have something that makes you just sit down and enjoy something or people.
Plus, here's a 30-second story. We're in, where are we at? The Four Seasons in Munich, Germany. We walk in because we couldn't find a cigar lounge. There was apparently not shit in Munich for cigar lounges. But the Four Seasons had, when we walk in there, a small little place, me and Dan are smoking, and we're with our crew after the Dortmund show. And there's this dude, right? Kind of slick back hair. I wasn't sure if he was American or not.
He looked like a real skinny Johnny Cash.
Yeah, like a skinny Johnny Cash. And I'm pretty sure you guys will know who this is once I say his name, because we had no idea who he was. And it was Daniel Marshall. You know? His humidors. So I looked at him and I said, hey, man, your cigar's getting low. You want to try a Ciccar piece? And he looks at it, he goes, nonchalantly, he goes, yeah, you know, I actually thought about a concept like this a few years back and never did it. But yeah, that's kind of cool, man. And I didn't know who this dude was, right? And so I started making fun of the gold wrapped cigar that he makes. That I don't know it's his.
Because it was in the shop.
It was in the shop. And I'm like, there's this gaudy $300 gold wrapped cigar up there for like $300 or something. I was like, that's just ridiculous. And he's like, yeah, I make that. I was like,
oh boy.
I was like, foot and mouth, right? And I'm just like, oh shit, do you really?
Oh, it's awesome. Good job.
And he introduced himself, right? Daniel Marshall's. And I literally go like this. I'm like, never heard of you. So cool, dude. This guy was like, it's cool, man. Don't sweat it. And like, you want to talk about a cool motherfucker? Daniel Marshall's, from my interaction with him, that dude was the most pimp, coolest dude I've ever fucking talked to on the face of the planet. You could just tell his swagger. He had that BDF or BDE.
They call it Riz now.
Yeah, whatever. What's Riz?
Riz.
What is
you got? The Riz, charisma.
Oh, charisma?
Yeah.
Well, whatever. Anyway, that dude was a stud and a half. I've actually talked to him since several times. We've talked. I got some of his cigars that he sent me. And anyways.
So
you never know.
Fun story. Daniel Marshall is an incredible human being. He was on our show. I think it's already 2 years ago or so. But it was Daniel's birthday yesterday. So shout out and congratulations to Daniel Marshall. And as you said, he's such a charming, down-to-earth character and a special human being. I spent some time with him and the governor, Mr. Schwarzenegger, in January at the Hahnenkamm skiing race in Kitzbühel, Austria. So that was the last time I saw him in person, and hopefully also in London in June. But he's a great guy, and shout out to Daniel, and happy birthday again, belated.
And also Arnold, if you're listening, we need to get you a Cicar, just in case.
By the way, just so you know, Reinhard, I have been diligently working on my Merrifield Cigar pieces that I'm going to gift to your company that are extremely special and rare. And I have some of you guys are going to be like, holy crap. So that'll be in the next coming month or two. It'll be before PCA.
I'll see you in Vegas, my friend.
Oh, yeah,
I will
good.
be handing them off to you then.
Hey, I have a
Let's bring
question.
in a couple of Daniel. Sorry, please.
Well, a couple of guys have like hands up on their screen. Does that mean
I was
question?
just about to say, let's bring in the people here in the audience who
Yeah,
have their hands up.
we're done
And
talking.
Macy was the first to say hello. So, Mr. Hansen, our attorney at law and attorney in residence here, chime in, sir.
Attorney in exile, baby. Exile on Main Street, exile on Hoover Street. Wife and kid just went to Columbia. I've got business in West Palm, sadly, next week. Next week I'll be at Smoke in West Palm, well-lit lounge.
We were just there.
We were just there. Yep.
Okay, well, and I'll talk, I don't know if you can see it, Mr. Damn, where's the camera? I got a Daniel Marsh, there it is, I think.
Oh yeah,
Just keep
baby.
talking.
That's awesome.
So, man, that foot and mouth story was so good, by the way. I just lost my train of thought. I do that all the time. I could share you like lawyers. Oh, man, did you read about that? Like, yeah, I filed that. It's like, oh, good, yeah, no riz here. But Daniel Marr, that's a great story. If you have any more like that, please share.
Yeah.
And also, you talk about accessories. I got this in Merida, Mexico, a little Joe Camel old lighter, cheap at a swap meet. But, sometimes it's the story behind it. Real quick, before I get into my a question about your product, onto the Mirafell cigars. When you sell singles of those, how do you determine who gets the ceramic piece?
Yes.
Like, is
Wait.
there a blood feud? I'd probably do some bad things
This?
to get it. Yeah.
This?
How is it a Thunderdome? Like everyone just kills each other?
Well, here's the crazy part. So when we first got the Richards in, what was it, like February, Reinhard, something like that? Or whenever the fuck it was. It was a few months back. They literally, I called a few of my regulars because they usually make boxes of really good shit. We told them like, hey, you guys want to hear a cool story? We told them the story of Mirafell. So they're already interested. Of course, I showed Reinhard the live videos and the videos that we took with our regular smoking them. And they literally were just buying boxes because they're like, we want the ashtray as well. So when we were selling individuals though, which weren't that many, we only had 2 of the boxes that sold as individuals. The rest sold as complete boxes.
Okay.
But literally every person would be like, so how do I get this? So what we did on a couple of them, we just kept them and said, you're not getting shit. So pay me $400. We wanted them for our store. But having said that, I said, if you want one, buy the box. But I did have my buddy Chris Townsend say, yo, like, how do I get one of those ashtrays? Because he saw it on the counter and asked what it was. And I said, you can give me $400 because I didn't want to sell it, right? So I feel like if I just said $400, he'd tell me to go pound sand. And he said, okay. So I was like, never mind. I'm not going to take your 400, but I just gave it to him. But I really wanted to keep it. I didn't want to give it to him. We have like how many of these? 2, 3 of them on here?
2 left.
Yeah, we have 200 counters.
I would sell it for $250. Yeah,
Yeah, but normally we would probably sell it. If we did sell it, we'd probably sell it for, like Brian said, about 200, 250, something like that.
Hey, so just real quick, I want to show you guys where I'm at with this. I'm down to like half an inch and I can just keep smoking it.
Beautiful.
By the way, I've been smoking this for pretty much the whole way. I don't know if you guys have, anybody here smoke weed? Marijuana? Green? The reason why I asked is because really
good friends who did in college.
Okay, well, really good
Close
weed.
friends.
Like, you know how really good weed has all the crystals and you're like looking at it and you're like, damn, that's fucking sexy. Just because this is true. I'm not, kissing anybody's ass here. This is real talk. This ash, it's not the color, it's the little tiny dots that are on the ash from all the oils and all the sugar because it's Cameroon and it's sugary, right? It looks like crystallized weed. It's the most crazy looking ash from that perspective I've ever seen out of any cigar I've ever smoked. I've never seen that much little beads beat up on it, where there's tens of thousands of them on every single part of the ash. It's crazy, Reinhard.
We call it the goosebumps that it gives.
Yeah. Well, you know what I'm saying.
You will only find that with true African Cameroon. Where
Yeah.
you have all these pockets of essential
Yeah.
oils, and that's
It
where
is
all the
absolutely
aroma
nuts.
sits, and what gives it its unique elegant, ethereal, and truly complex profile.
It looks like it's covered in crystals. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. I can't wait for Marifil to legitimately put its place in the retail and consumer marketplace long term, because there's 0% chance that this is not one of the best cigars ever made. It is in there. It's in the top 10 cigars that you could probably buy on the planet. If you guys disagree, I don't care. It's fine. But I'm just saying that's where I feel it takes its place. I think it's that fucking good.
Mark, it's greatly appreciated that you say that, and everybody's perception and taste is different. So some people dig it, others won't, and I certainly appreciate the positive feedback and the comments. But
Yeah.
I think what ultimately sets Marifil Cigar apart is it's a legacy project that was created and envisioned to share the unique heritage and history of the Marifil family with cigar enthusiasts, because for a lot of people out there, for a lot of cigar enthusiasts and aficionados, the name Marifil is still comparatively new or unknown, even though the family has been around for 400 years and 11 generations. And
Yeah.
so, I always consider it as a door opener for people to explore this unique history, and that's what the cigar was truly meant to be. Besides all the surrounding elements that make for the holistic experience, which we then call the Uber luxury. But just a little sidestep there. I appreciate the positive comments, and I'm glad that you enjoy it. And as you said, Cicar, gives everybody an opportunity to just enjoy those cigars to the very last bit, and not waste a single millimeter of greatness.
Invite me back in 5 years when I reopen the Meyer and the Richards again after they've been sitting for 5 years. I cannot wait to see what that tastes like. That's going to be fucking insane.
We'll do a little vertical tasting of different Marifils throughout the ages.
Well, I'm gonna
Do you
always
mind
be
if I
watching no
jump
matter
in?
what.
Yeah, jump in.
I was gonna say something. No, and I don't want to I did have a product question. I'm sorry. I don't want to stop the adults conversation. Pardon me.
Oh,
Go
please.
for it, brother.
Are you kidding me, bro? Please help me. I feel like I just can't shut up. So just please interject, everybody.
Yeah, I've been accused of having that same problem. I think we'd get, when you open those Marifil after 5 years, yeah, let me know. I might find myself in the area after. Well, I wish more retailers would do, what Paul Garmirian does, and put boxes away and actually allow you to buy aged boxes with, some sort of stamp or certificate. I think that's something on the next level thing is,
Yeah.
I know in London and Europe, they do that a lot. I think the United States, Abe kind of does a little, dabbles in it, but not really in that way. But anyway, just 2 cents. That's a whole tangent, but I think that would be a really cool thing for retailers, especially really high-end folks like yourself I would pay, if you had, I don't know, Davidoff Millennium from, I don't know, just a 2008 box or something, I'd be willing to pay.
By the way, I do have them. I should show you my humidor, and you're gonna be like, you're an idiot, because I have so many fucking cigars. I took my upstairs loft in my house, cedared the whole thing, humidifier, temperature control, split box, completely sealed room, and I have about $800,000 in cigars. And I don't have that.
Genius. You're a genius.
I don't have that many cigars, but of the cigars I do have, as Dan will testify, are literally the best cigars on the fucking planet. I have every Habano you can think of. I have Cohiba, Grand Reserves, Grand Reserve, this and that. I have the Reservas. I have crazy rare shit, the books. Then on the American side, or the Dominican side, or the Nicaraguan side, okay, I have all the Fuente crazy shit. Name a Fuente. The answer is yes, I have it. Because no matter which one you say, I promise you.
What about I got a challenge for you before my product. Sorry. Davidoff Culebra.
I have it.
You have 2.
What?
And how much? No, we'll talk. Okay.
Bro, Dan, how much Davidoff?
I know people working there like, I've never seen it.
How much
managers,
Davidoff?
Yeah, all of it, I think.
I think I have every Davidoff ever made, even from Cuban side. Not shitting you though, but I have the Millennium Humidor from 2000. Okay. I have the new Millenniums that just came out this year. I have like 80 boxes of the rabbits, including like 35 boxes of the toros. I took like 7% of the world's inventory. I'm not even shitting you. They're in my humidor. In fact, I'm going to pull it up on my phone, put it up to the screen so guys, you don't think I'm lying. But no bullshit though, for real. It's I have a Davidoff Fuente collection that would literally fucking rival most people on planet Earth. I have every single
I don't know
Zodiac.
how we could. I would love the cigar porn on that if that could ever be made.
Bro, look at I'm not so genuinely cigar. And if you go to look at my profile, so go to Mark Ciccarello on my Facebook and you can just see my post, or go to Not So Genuinely Cigar and look it up there. I did a post and everybody was like, holy shit, bro. And I'm like, yeah, you think I have some fucking issues or what? So I got an issue. And there's a new Cuban collection that's being sold out of Pennsylvania from an attorney. If you guys have heard of this, he has like a $3.5 million collection that he's selling. And I'm buying $350,000 of it. And it's like crazy rare shit. 1994 Habano SA fucking humidor for 50 grand. Like weird
Who's
shit.
this lawyer? Who is he?
I can get it for you. I don't know if I want to share it. Don't buy my cigars, bro.
No, I'm afraid. Don't worry. I think that demand requires ability to pay, not just willingness. So,
But here's a live image, just a little disorganized, but here's a live image of my humidor upstairs in my house that I turned into a humidor. So that side is all the American side, and that's the American side, and this is the Cuban side. But in the corner, I have about 80 boxes right there that you see those white stacks. That's all the rabbits. And so,
Macy, back to your point, I think you have a very fair point there that certain people should definitely look into stashing aside cigars to see how they evolve with age, and then give everybody the opportunity to try that. I think that
we're doing that
in the wine world have successfully started to do that, and there's restaurants and wine bars and great sommeliers who understood that you have to invest early in great product and give it some time, so that further down the road people can enjoy those masterpieces when they're at their peak and at their very best, instead of just consuming it at a very young age, where you might see the initial signs of greatness, but you're probably missing the full potential of what that product could actually be.
And as I told you, Reinhard, we're opening up a new lounge that's literally double the size of this, both inside and outside. And in our new humidor, we're actually building out a special part of the humidor that will be bulletproof glass, key card entry only, and it will have about $1 million in the rare cigars on the planet that I purchased for my own personal collection. And I'm going to bring in the craziest, most aged everything that you can think of. So when people walk in, they're like, how did you get Cuvée Dragons? How did you get the Merrifield 5 years ago when it first released and you still have the boxes? And so that's the whole point, is the Connoisseur's Corner part will all be super aged, super hard to get, rare ass, world-class cigars. And then of course you'll have the normal humidor with everyday cigars. But it'll be a cool draw because I think I'm the only one in the nation that's going to have it to where it's that intricate. Like Smoke Inn has like their little special room, and it has like some kind of rare cigars. Nothing too crazy though, but just not the normal shit that's a few years old. Some old Tatawahis or some old Davidoff or Fuente. But I'm going to have that on steroids.
And my theory on that is they're old for a reason. They didn't sell. I don't think they were put aside purposefully. That's I'll just say my critique on that. What I like is you're putting aside purposefully.
Well, of course, I think the answer is fairly simple. It takes a lot of guts and balls as an entrepreneur to heavily invest in the future. And, cash flow is always an issue in the cigar industry, both for the manufacturers, but also for the retailers. So, a lot of people would say the best wine is the one that's already sold. And for a lot of people, the same is true with cigars. So, if
I go broke, I'm going to have a really good selection to smoke.
Amen.
And where is the store? I missed that.
Cigars and everybody else.
Can you remind? I'm sorry, I think I missed it. Where is your store? And will you sell these online?
I will, because we have a new tobacco tax that just took effect. I was telling Reinhard about this. So we introduced legislation about 5 months ago that the governor finally passed, which takes effect July 1st, where we get a 40% tobacco tax, but it's a maximum of 50 cents per stick. So it's 40% up to 50 cents maximum. So instead of my order costing me fucking $21,000 from Merrifield, I saved now $6,000. And I only pay $250 in tobacco tax versus $6,000. So it's a massive difference. So now I'm going to be able to compete online. So it'll be called Cigars, right? .com. And we will sell online. And I'll also put a lot of my rare shit. So it'll be like, hey, Connoisseur's Corner or rare cigars. You click on it and I'll have it by category: Davidoff, Fuente, Tatawahi, Black Label, whatever, Marifil. And then that way you can get more of that intricate, like, holy shit, this dude actually has, a full box of the snakes from 2013, right? He has a box of monkeys. Like, I have literally all this shit. So I will be selling them. There will be extremely rare quantities that I allow to be sold. I'm not going to give them away. So sorry that I'm going to charge out the ass for them, but guess what? I paid out the ass for them. So I'm not going to lose money. But yeah, if you want them, I'll have some shit that you just can't get. Because as you know, people will put it on as clickbait, and you go to it and you go to add a cart and it says, notify me when back in stock. They never even had it. It's just clickbait. Mine will actually be in stock, or I'll just take it off the website.
Sterling, it's going to be sterlingcigars.com.
Sturman, Sturman.
Sturman
Cigars. Yeah, and so our shop is in Boise, Idaho. We actually have two of them. One's in downtown that's been there since 1994. The proprietor was Ryan's dad. Ryan's my partner.
My financial guy's in Nampa, Idaho.
Yeah, Nampa is a place called V-Cut. They're not affiliated with us, but our other one that we're opening is actually going to be in Eagle, Idaho, which is kind of our more ritzy upscale area of the valley. And we're doing full liquor with that one. Where here it's just beer and wine. But again, we want to go for concept, right? It's the concept that we're going for, which is open, light, not dreary, women focused, food trucks, music, high ceilings, inviting atmosphere where you walk in, you're like, dude, I could come here any time of the day, any time of the week with anybody, and every single person is going to enjoy it without feeling like this is not the spot for them. Women come in here by the droves and they freaking love it. It's just, and that's what we were going for. We wanted to make it friendly because remember, where men go, right? They're going anyways, but where the women go, the men go for sure. So women make up 90% of our decisions. So trust me, if you get it to where women come, guys are coming regardless if women come or not. But if the women come, the guys are for sure coming.
Now, real quick, have you looked into the history of cigar, like, cigarette holders? I think of Miss Scarlett from Clue. I was in Spain and noticed in antique shops, they had a lot of silver antique cigar holders.
Yeah.
And it seems that there's a history there that perhaps maybe,
It is.
I think it actually might be traditional.
Well, just so you know, you're actually right. And check this out. When we went to patent it, we had to do a patent search, obviously. And one of the things that we could not patent was the utility, because it's already been done. We could only get the design patent. Having said that, we do have it, guys. We have a design patent on this product. But the one that we ran into was the big elongated cigarette holder / they had another one that looked like that. What's that one made from the sea? Yeah. It's like the white one that can patina at the time. What's that one
we make pipes out of?
It's not Risher wood, it's the white one.
Meerschaum.
Meerschaum. Not Mirafel, Meerschaum.
Thank you. Meerschaum.
Yeah.
So Meerschaum, so that one, there was this really big gaudy one, but the problem was it had this huge thickness to it, like a tobacco pipe, that you could put your cigar and make it seal, but then it had this long, thin mouthpiece, and it really takes away from the flavor of the tobacco, and it doesn't give you the same experience. This short throw, little tiny piece right here makes it to where it's like it's still hitting your mouth and you're still on the cigar.
Also, this is how low I just smoked this without even working on it.
Yeah.
Over to Brian in California. Macy, thanks for coming in. Brian, good to have you.
Everybody, thank you, Macy. This is great. First of all, why isn't Jeremiah here? Number one question.
Yeah, what the hell? I was expecting it for Jeremiah.
Yeah. Also, Reinhard, if you were hanging out with Arnie, you got to get him on the show, right?
We're working on it.
Time to get the governor on the show.
Interestingly enough, he was just in Austria. I wasn't there, but he was in Austria for a conference, and he was speaking. I think he received a very special little something with a particular brand of cigars, which we won't name. but I'm in Sofia, so I'm not close. But maybe we'll have Mr. Governator at the lounge at some point. We're working on it, but
We'll make it happen. Yeah, a couple quick comments just on some of the conversation we were going over. First, Mark, I hope you have a good security system or a good security guard or
Larry, my number one critique is, bro, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't give a shit. I have insurance.
some military. I like the rare cigar section. That's interesting. It's like a bookstore, you know, and you have the rare books section that are crazy expensive. That's cool. Yeah. I like Daniel, what you're saying earlier about cigars forcing you to take time out of the day. We're all stressed out. We're all busy. And I'm always reminded that this is my chance to actually sit down, which I won't do without it. It's almost a reason that I have to pause and take a break in my day. And I'm always reminded of that. There for a while, I was getting stressed out and I was starting to smoke the really tiny cigars. I'd buy like the little tins, you know, Macanudos or whatever shit. And I was like smoking those all day long, you know, and I was like, wait a second, this is like I'm a cigarette smoker, basically. And it's the wrong vibe. That's not what cigars are about. It's not about anxiety and, you know, do I have time for this? You know, it's about making time. Anyway, I wanted to yes and that. So my grandpa used to live in Kuski, Idaho. Different part. It's super tiny. Kuski's like blink and you'll miss it. You know, that's super small. I grew up in Montana, so right next door. Are you guys going to be at the Rocky Mountain Cigar Festival?
In Colorado?
Mm-hmm.
We were going to go to it last year and we couldn't get in. It was sold out. But we don't have plans to do it as a vendor. But I might try to show up just personally, just check it out because I haven't. I mean, we've done a lot of stuff in Florida. We try to do the smaller events that aren't like PCA and TPE and the one in Dortmund and stuff like that. So we try to still hit those like that are more consumer friendly to get the piece in people's hands. Like when we're at Smoke Inn's event, the Great Smoke, right? What was that, 2 months ago or something?
Yeah.
Like there was only a 4-hour window. That's all the vendors had was 4 hours, 5 hours max. And we sold like 65, 70 pieces in that time frame. It was literally nonstop. They were just coming up. People were like, dude, this is dope as hell. So I prefer those shows actually, because the idea is if more people use it, more people share it, more people will have an understanding of what it is. And then obviously the demand will grow. And I can actually get this in more people's hands. So the consumer shows are actually what I do like, not necessarily like PCA is cool. And it's like, oh, cool, PCA. But I prefer the smaller vendor or the smaller consumer shows.
Yeah. Check out Rocky Mountain. Get a booth. You know, we were talking about ash, the cool looking ashes. You know, earlier. My favorite looking ash I think that I've experienced so far was from a Dunbarton. I don't know what it was about it that looked so cool, but I was just like, wow. I feel like I'd never seen an ash like that. Okay, finally to the question. So this is a quick, easy one. I noticed on the website, this is made for cigars up to 54 ring gauge, and we talk a lot about different vitolas on this show. And some people like a 60. I'm not saying that I'm one of those people, but they're out there. So I'm curious about your opinion. I'm assuming it's something like you hate cigars that big, but I'm curious in terms of those folks out there and filling that gap, maybe.
Okay, so yeah, actually, Dan and I addressed the new piece coming, which is the second piece. So we only make 2 sizes. We haven't even launched the second size yet, but it is bought, paid for, and being shipped right now as we speak. It'll be here for PCA, and that will hit a 74 down to a 50. So it'll be able to encompass in any of those ring gauges. Having said that, the stone one is more like 56 once it gets warmed up.
I'd say 58.
And then the wood one I'd say is more like 60 once it gets warmed up. You can't fit in here because we fit the ox. Like we were in Spain.
Yeah.
We were in Barcelona and we had the Davidoff ox, the ox, and it's a 60 ring gauge. And it fit here and we got it down to like 2 millimeters in height. Because by the time it sealed, it barely fit in the very beginning of the tube. So when it finally got down to the tube, that was 100% of the cigar. There was nothing left. It was ash. So it just won't go as deep into the tube. Some of the larger
I like
ring
that better
gauges
sometimes, yeah.
But I actually do like that better. Because now you don't have to worry about the tube getting hot. You don't have to worry about the wrapper on the outside. Sometimes the drawback to the Cicar is if it gets too far into the tube and it's hitting the tube, like a 54, 52 might hit the tube as it tapers down, the inner guts will burn, but the wrapper's pushing against the Cicar piece.
Mine did
So
it
it doesn't
just a little.
necessarily always burn the wrapper as
see
easily as the inner guts once it's in the tube.
Yeah, just right there. You can see the wrapper is higher than the inside.
Just a little bit. But so the fatter the ring gauge, the harder it is to get in there. Actually, the better for your smoking experience, because you just need to make a seal. As long as it seals, it doesn't matter how far the cigar goes into the tube. We just wanted to make it to where it can fit all these ring gauges going all the way down to like a 38, which is basically this mouthpiece opening, I think is like a 34. So we just say, hey, it can go down to a 38 and still lock and make a seal and you can smoke your cigar.
Cool. Thanks for your time. Cheers.
Gents, before we wrap things up and before we come to the end of the show, I'm curious to hear your thoughts about the mid to long term future for the cigar industry, obviously also for Cicar and your business. But what's your thoughts then from a marketing and communication perspective, and Mark, for you as an entrepreneur and a cigar retailer, where do you think the industry is headed, and what's your perspective on the mid to long term future for premium cigars?
Okay, so two-part question, right? One's about where the industry is going, and one's where's the industry going for premium cigars. So I think that it's on us, meaning the smokers and the retailers, to educate people about cigars so that when they're smoking, you know what I tell people? They come into my shop, they're like, hey, can you recommend a cigar? I never recommend anything too crazy strong usually. I ask them questions, but in general, I just say something like this. I'll ask a question like, do you want to absolutely be in love with your hour to 2 hour experience, or are you more concerned with the price point? So that will tell me a lot about how I can navigate what kind of cigars I want to show them. So sometimes they'll say something like, yeah, of course I want to enjoy the most time I have possible with the cigar. I'm like, okay, well then here's these ones. And a lot of times I'll, give them a refill and say, hey, it's not too heavy, but here's the history behind it. Yeah, it's a little expensive, but you're going to absolutely fucking love it. And if you don't, I'll literally give you your money back. And if it's like, I don't want to spend above 20, then I put them in a direction to where I think is the best, $15 to $20 cigar that's going to give them the experience. In order for people to continue smoking on a regular basis, because that's what we want, right? Is you want the churn of cigars being sold. So you have to make sure that when people are smoking that don't necessarily smoke regularly, that when you give them a suggestion, they are wowed by it. They have to be like, damn, that was fucking great, man. Great suggestion. So now they're going to understand a little bit more of the premium, what it gives. And then maybe next time I say, here's a $10 house stick. That's still good, but you'll be able to tell the difference if you're really smoking it correctly, and the nuances of flavor profiling, body, how it changes throughout the cigar, stuff like that. So I think that it's on us, the retailers and the smokers, to honestly smoke good premium cigars. Like if everybody's just about price point, then people will never smoke good cigars that are only about price. Some guys are like, I have $5, but I smoke 5 a day. Well, fine. They're never going to pick up a Merrifield. That's just how it is. But as far as getting the people like me and Dan and other people that I know that smoke higher end cigars because they want the experience when they're smoking for a couple hours, the guys that have the money to afford it, the way that premium cigars last in the industry is still try to be somewhat price conscious, right? I think that that's at least somewhat important. You can't just be blown out and say I'm the best. Well, sometimes people will say, yeah, but you're the best and you're also the most expensive. And sometimes those two aren't necessarily in harmony. So I still say be reasonable compared to the history of what we consider the best cigars. And that means this: Padron 64, Padron 26, Fuentes high-end stuff, and that's fucking it. Okay, and Davidoff high-end stuff. And their price ranges are $25 to $40. So if we can get cigars to stay what is already established in the industry as $25 to $40, as long as inflation doesn't completely kill us, I think that premium cigars are not going to go anywhere anytime soon. I think though that once you start hitting, $80, $100, like, yes, they can sell, but also the history of the cigar sell them. Like the Opus X's, the BBMFs, they're going to sell for that $69, $89 and sell out instantly. But they also have the history and the pedigree where people know for a fact that that cigar is rare, it doesn't come in very often, and they want it, and especially if their shop has limited supply. So if you have that pedigree, it's easier to sell. If you're the new guy on the block and you come in swinging at a $50 to $100 price point, you're going to be paddling up creek.
Or it has to be incredible, like the Mirabelle.
But the Marifel, even Marifel, I didn't know anything about Marifel. I didn't know anything about the Richard or the Meyer. Now that I'm smoking them, yeah, I can get behind it because I smoke them and I know that they're good. But if I didn't know Marifel at all and I didn't have a relationship with you at all, Reinhard, and they hit a shop that and I didn't even know, I would probably just breeze by it because I wouldn't know it. And I think that your challenge for any premium cigar company, especially that doesn't have a foothold in massive amount of retail shops, is the acknowledgement, right? People have to acknowledge what it is, and then that acknowledgement they will understand, and the price can then get justified. But if people don't know what your cigar is, if they're like, I have $80 to spend, and they say, here's a BBMF, or here's an Opus X Dubai, or whatever the hell, right? And they know for a fact that that's a winner, or a Davidoff, whatever. And then they hit Marifel, for example, I'm just giving you an example, and they don't know Marifel, they're not going to take a chance that the $80 is going to be wasted on a cigar they might not like. They're just going to go to their tried and true. So it's everybody talking about it, smoking them, and saying, no, this is the nuts. But then it has to be the nuts. You can't have a high price point and have it be disappointing.
Amen to that. Mace, you had a comment for us.
Yeah.
Hey guys, just yeah, really, it's been an amazing show, Reinhard, as always. And I'm probably coming from that traditional perspective where I'm gonna take some convincing because I like that taste of the tobacco.
Oh, let me send you one. Let me send you one. Go to our website. Take 50 bucks.
So I'm sort of convinced by the conversation. I'm all right. I'm getting there. I'm getting
If you don't like it, throw it in the trash.
I had a question, and the question is more around, especially here in Europe. So I'm just outside of London, and one of the things that we've seen, especially with COVID, and it kind of ties in with the marketing question that Reinhard had and getting the brand out there, is what are you guys doing? I've heard you guys mention Barcelona and a few other places in Europe, but are you guys doing, you know, a lot of the, I guess we call it the new world, the non-Cubans getting into Europe? What's been successful is going and actually having like a tour, right? Getting around the UK, getting around Europe, going into a lot of different cigar shops and having these events where they're meeting up with people and they're talking to people, because ultimately people buy people, right? So just want to figure out, what do you guys have planned, I guess, maybe for the next year? Are you guys going to be doing any stuff in Europe? Are you guys looking at any distributors in Europe where you're going to try and expand on the portfolio and get it into local sort of venues? And also just how are you guys seeing the uptake in Europe versus the US?
Do you want to help us in Europe? Europe is challenging. So Europe is challenging from duties, taxes, customs. So we did the Dortmund show, and we literally landed probably 4 or 5 master distros that wanted pallets and pallets to distribute to their, like, we had Turkey, Istanbul, we had France, and guess what? I couldn't deliver. We had such a challenging issue with finding reliable people that could help us out with the distribution and shipping of it and getting it there through customs, and just that we're still working on it. Now, I know that Boveda has connections, and Reinhard, you probably have connections that I just don't have. Okay. And I'll be honest, I haven't spent as much time as I probably should on fixing that problem, but I also have other people working on it. But yes, would I like it to be to where it's an easier pathway to get to Europe, to where it can get into people's hands in Europe? In America, it's easy. It's America. It's already here. So that's not hard. But yes, it would be nice to have a site in Europe that they could buy online and get to a distro that could shoot throughout, whether it's Rottingham or any other major distribution point, especially in Germany. They have a couple as well that can hit a lot of Europe countries. But yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I probably need help with distribution in Europe. So if you guys want to help me out, I'm putting it out there. I'm not the most knowledgeable when it comes to European distribution, because it really is the first item I've ever made that is international. right? All my other stuff has been United States centric, so I haven't had to deal with that. So then I was like, oh, it's probably not gonna be that hard. Well, it actually is kind of a pain in the ass, to be honest with you. But if y'all have an outlet for me, by all means, get a hold of me, mark@chicarlife.com, send me an email. But yeah, so I need help in Europe. That's the facts, right? We went there, we did really well, and then I couldn't even perform, and I looked pretty silly. So I apologize to anybody in Europe that hates me. We are going to get it fixed eventually, and once we do, I think that the European market will definitely take off, because our feedback in Europe in Dortmund was 100% flawless. It wasn't like America. Americans, as you know, we're kind of entitled little bitches, and it's true. Like we are the most spoiled, entitled fucks I've ever met, and we have attitudes like our shit doesn't stink, and it's really difficult sometimes to deal with us. Having said that, when I went to Europe, it was the exact opposite. Everybody was cool as shit. They weren't just like, that's bullshit, I'm not going to fucking pay that. They're just like, yeah, man, this is an awesome piece. How do we get it? Right? People were cool as shit in Europe. So I just need to find my way in to the European market. And I think that once it's in there and people try it and other people promote it, sure, I think it'll sell itself. It sells itself here, so it should sell itself there. And the feedback we got was literally perfect in Europe. I was looking at Dan going like, holy shit, bro, we're gonna have to order more, because these people are literally wanting pallets. They wanted pallets, not a case. They wanted the whole pallet, which is like $60,000 order. And so unfortunately for me, I failed these people. And I'll be the first to admit that I own it. The fish stinks from the head down, and I'm the head of the fish. So, yeah, I got some shit to work on. But once I get it figured out and the channels are fine, I won't have an issue. Like once it's figured out, is at that point that's not the issue. Money's never going to be the issue. Supply won't be the issue. It's just the channel, right? I hope I answered that.
That's perfect. I mean, the second part to that question was just, are you guys planning any more visits in Europe, doing any more tours apart from the events? Are you guys looking at doing anything directly, like just sort of seeing a few of the different sort of distributors locally and just getting passing that word around and actually just getting
I don't want to fail people again. So I would say, honestly, unless I get my shit figured out, I don't want to waste our money, our time, our people's time and money. And I also don't want to give false hope to people when they're going to put their time, their money, and their energy into my product to make it happen. I don't think that's fair to anybody. So until I get it figured out, I'm not doing anything in Europe. But I promise you this, when we get it figured out, it's not if, we are going to figure it out, then it's game on. Then everybody can do whatever the hell they want. And then of course, if that's the case, I'll come back, we'll do another show, and we'll go shake hands and kiss babies like everybody else does, right? When you network and try to do business. And hopefully everybody loves it.
We look forward to having you guys out here. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, appreciate it. Like I said, help me, please.
Hey, so thanks for the brilliant question. Gentlemen, time flies. It was such a pleasure to hear from your vast experience and learn more about Cicar, learn about the culture in the US, learn about your retail side, and it's been fabulous. I mean, I'm truly grateful for everything that you shared with us and providing us with the opportunity to take a little deep dive into the world of Cicar and everything that you do with Sturmans as well. So,
thank you,
gentlemen. I cannot thank you enough. It's been a true pleasure and privilege. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. We posted the link to chicarlife.com. We have this wonderful and very generous discount code that you shared with Marifel 50 off for $50 off people's order. So please check it out. Try Cicar, and then by all means let us know and let Dan and Mark know about your experience, how you enjoy it. And I cannot wait to see you guys in Vegas in, well, a bit more than a month's time at the trade show. And I wish you tremendous success and all the very best until then. Thank you very much for joining us at the Light 'Em Up Lounge.
Thanks, Reinhard. It was an honor, bud.
Yeah,
We'll see you later.
Having us. Everybody listening, thank you for putting up with me.
Thanks for the questions. Appreciate it.
Yeah, everything was great, man. Can't wait to talk to you guys again.
Absolutely. We loved it. Thank you so much to everybody for chiming in. Next week, we'll be back with Eric Espinosa for a few updates about Espinosa cigars. And you know, there's been plenty of stuff happening with Guy Fieri and everything that Eric does. So I'll see you all next week, next Wednesday, same time, same station here at the Light 'em Up Lounge. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and light 'em up. Goodbye, everybody, and good night.
Thank you. Goodbye, guys.